right? Let's see the next LOS. Okay, they are saying that explain how the liquidity or the size issue of the bond, issue size of the bond, they affect the yield spread relative to the risk-free security and relative to other security. Risk-free security is the treasury security, relative to other security is your benchmark, right? So we would want to understand that how the liquidity or the issue size it is impacting, right? So now you would have become champion in understanding this. Please note that when liquidity, okay, think about two bonds from the General Motors table only, okay, both have the same time to maturity, 5 year. Okay, this bonds liquidity is 100 bond per day. This bonds liquidity is 10 million per day. Okay, the coupon is 8%. Okay, so you have time to maturity, you have the liquidity, you have the coupon. Okay, now if this bond is giving you a yield of 8%, let's say the yield of this bond is 8%. Okay, what can be said about the yield of this bond? Okay, so specifically, should it be equal to 8%, should it be less than 8%, or should it be greater than 8%? So which would be your choice? Okay, right? So here what happens is, since the liquidity is less, okay, so investor would want a liquidity premium, so it want to get compensated a liquidity premium which would be above this, because this both the bonds are similar, so he would want a liquidity premium. So let's say if the liquidity premium is 0.3%, okay, so he will want a 8.3% return over here because of the lower liquidity. So those bonds which are having lower liquidity, there the yield will be higher. Okay, now compare another General Motor bond with the same characteristics, but the trading of this bond is 100 million per day. Okay, when it is 100 million per day, so you will say that here the liquidity will be lower, okay, because this 8% it would have some liquidity also, so you will say that I will require maybe only 7.9%. okay, so those bonds where the liquidity is higher, okay, liquidity risk is lower, so we will please note that liquidity and liquidity risk are opposite of each other. When you have higher liquidity, it implies your lower liquidity risk, and when you have lower liquidity, it implies higher liquidity risk. This implies your yield will be more, and this implies your yield will be lower, right? So this is the comparison with the yield and the liquidity. Please note that if yield is lower or higher, it needless to say that your yield spread will also be lower, and here your yield spread will be higher, right? So this is with regard to the liquidity. Now how the issue size effect. So what is the impact of the issue size? Okay, now compare, let's say General Motors is coming up with two bond issue. One bond issues has 10 million number of bonds, another bond issue has 200 million number of bonds. Okay, so everything is same. Okay, but what happens is, because this is 200 million number of bonds, okay, there will be more trading happening because there will be more number of investors, so the trading will be more over here. Since the trading is more, we can say that there will be higher liquidity, and when there is a higher liquidity, so we can say that there will be lower liquidity risk. As a result, your yield will be lower, right? So those bonds which are having a higher issue size, you find that their yield will be lower, or spreads will be lower, or their risk will be lower, right? So the scope of 55.h LOS was this.